Unit 2, Traffic Engineering and Signaling, Part 3. So, Introduction to Signaling. Now, the signaling system are as essential as switching system and transmitter system. For multi-link connection, it is necessary to send a signal in both directions between the caller and the originating exchange, between the called customer and the terminating exchange, and between exchanges. Signaling system must be compatible with the switching system in a network. They must be able to transmit all the signals required to operate the switches. They must also be compatible with the transmission system in the network in order to reach the exchanges that they control. Thus, the design of signaling system is directly influenced by both switching and transmission requirements, and the evaluation of signaling has followed the development in switching and transmission. So, what is signaling? Signaling means it is a protocol or the language used by a network elements to exchange the information. There are two factors affecting the signaling, that is switching requirement and transmission requirement. In telecommunication network, three forms of signaling are used. One is subscriber loop signaling, intra exchange, that is within same exchange or register signaling, and third is inter exchange or inter register signaling. So the transmitted signals may be either a continuous signal or pulse signal. A pulse signal may be either a single pulse or a coded group of pulses. Now the transmitted signals may be either unknowledged signals or knowledge signals. When an acknowledgement signal is returned, it confirms receipt of the signal that was sent. The acknowledgement may be a continuous or pulse signal. If the pulse signaling is used, a signal may be repeated until it is acknowledged. When continuous signaling is used, a signal is sent until the acknowledgement is received, and the signal persists until the original signal has been removed. This is called compiled signaling. So, the signaling of telecommunication network. Now, the signaling technique enables the circuit to function as a whole by interconnecting all varieties of the switching system. There are three forms of signaling which we have seen already. Signaling involved in telecommunication network: the subscriber loop signaling, intrachange or register signaling, and interchange or inter-register signaling. Now, the subscriber loop signaling depends upon the type of the telephone instrument used. So, subscriber loop, it depends on the subscriber's telephone instrument, that is rotary dial telephone or DTMF telephone. It has again two types: continuous signal and pulse signal. In continuous signal, for example, DC off hook signal on subscriber's line, and pulse line, it may be a single pulse or the group of pulses, for example, decimal digit sent by the loop or disconnect pulsing. The intra-exchange signaling refers to the internal portion of the switching system that is heavily dependent upon the type and the design of switching system, which varies depending upon the model. So, in intra-exchange signaling, it is internal to the switching system and depends upon a type and design of switching system. It includes the control information, that is call setup, call supervision, and call termination within a telephone exchange. Inter-exchange signaling takes place between the exchanges. This helps in the exchange of address digit which pass from the exchange to the exchange on a link by link basis. The network-wide signaling that involves end-to-end signaling between the originating exchange and the terminating exchange is called the line signaling. So inter-exchange signaling, the main function of this is to exchange the address digit which pass from the exchange to exchange on link by link basis. Again, there are three types: supervision signal, address signal, and tones and announcement. Supervision signal means on hook, off hook signal, address signal, for example digit, and tone and announcement, for example ringing or busy tone. Now the compelled signaling, it means the signal is sent until the acknowledgement is received before the next signal is able to be sent. It is reliable method. The channel associated signaling means exchanges send signals over the same circuit in the network as that of the connection they control. It is known as the channel associated signaling. So the next point is the types of or the classification of signaling technique. The signaling technique are characterized into two types: the in-channel signaling and the common channel signaling. However, these are further divided into few types depending upon the frequencies and the frequency techniques used. So the division classification is given here. The signaling is basically classified into two types: in-channel and common channel. In channel, it is again divided into four types: DC, low frequency, voice frequency, and PCM. Voice frequency is divided into two: in band and out band. Out channel is, or we can say common channel, is divided into associated and non-associated. So first we will see the in-channel signaling, or we can say per trunk signaling. This type of signaling is used to carry the voice or data and pass the control signal related to a call or connection. There are different types of in-channel signaling which is shown in figure. The DC signaling is simple, cheap and reliable even for unamplified audio circuit. However, for amplified audio circuit, low frequency AC signaling may be adopted. The voice frequency signaling is used when FDM or frequency division multiplexing transmission systems are used, because low frequency signaling and DC signaling cannot be provided. This voice frequency signaling may be in band or out band. So it makes the use of voice and data channel to pass the control information related to call or connection. It is characterized in four different classes of signaling: DC, low frequency AC, voice frequency, and PCM. Now DC means it is used in unamplified metal based audio lines. It is simple, cheap and reliable. Low frequency AC means it can be used for amplified audio circuit. Voice frequency means DC and low frequency AC cannot be used in FDM transmission system. In such cases, voice frequency signaling is used. And PCM means the DC signal associated with audio frequency baseband circuit are sampled and encoded in the PCM transmitted. So in band, voice frequency uses the same frequency band as the voice, which is 300 to 3400 Hz, which has to be protected against a false operation by a switch. One such an instance took place when a voice which had generated a tone around 2600 Hz lasting for the duration of 100 milliseconds was detected as the line disconnect signal, due to which her calls were frequently being disconnected in the middle of her conversation. Such a problem precluded the in-band signaling during speech phase. The advantage of in-phase signaling are: first advantage is the control signal can be sent to every part where a speech signal can reach. Second is the control signal will be independent of the transmission system as they are carried along with the speech signals. And the third is the analog to digital and digital to analog conversation processes will not affect them. Next is Outband signaling, or we can say common channel signaling. The outband signaling uses the frequency which are above the voice band but below the upper limit of 4000 Hz of the nominal voice channel spacing. The signaling is done throughout the speech period and thus continuous supervision of the call is allowed. Here extra circuits are needed to handle the extremely narrow bandwidth of this signaling, due to which it is seldom used. Both of these in-band and outbound voice frequency signaling technique have limited information transmission capacity. In order to provide enhanced facilities, common channel signaling is used. So next is common channel signaling. Now the common channel signaling uses a separate common channel for passing control signals for a group of trunks or the information path, as it does not use the speech or the data path for the signaling. The common channel signaling consists of two types of nodes such as signaling transfer points STP and signaling points, that is SP. A signaling point is capable of handling control messages directly addressed to it, but it is incapable of routing messages. Signaling transfer point is capable of routing messages and can perform the function of SP. This common channel signaling is implemented in two modes: channel associated mode and channel non-associated mode. Now what is channel associated mode? In this mode, the channel closely track the trunk groups along the entire length of the connection. Here the signaling is done on separate channel. The signaling path passes through the same set of the switches as does the speech path. The following this figure shows the associated mode of operation in common channel signaling. Now the signaling path for the speech path is A, B, A, C, A, B, A, C, B and B, D. Here it is B, D. Next is A, B, A, C, B, A, B, A, C, B and B, D respectively. Advantages of this signaling is the implementation is economic and the assignment of trunk groups is simple. So the channel non-associated mode. In the channel non-associated mode, there is no close or the simple assignment of the control channel to trunk the groups. It follows a different path from that of the speech signal, which is shown in the figure. Now here the signaling path for the speech path is A, B, B, C, R, A, C, D and B and BDC respectively. The network topologies are different for signaling and speech network. Though this scheme offers flexibility as there is no switching center, it is bit complex, as the signal messages may be transferred between the two end switching system via any available path in the common channel signaling network according to its own routing principles. Next is customer line signaling. Now here in a local telephone network, the loop the disconnect signaling is used for sending customer call and clear signal to the exchange. Since there is a minimum line current that the exchange can detect, there is a maximum permissible line resistance. This limit the maximum length of the line and the size of the area served by the exchange. In addition to being limited by DC resistance, the length of the line is also limited by permissible attenuation at voice frequency. Ideally, both limits can be the same. So customer line signaling means here loop or disconnect signaling is used for sending the customer's call and clear the signals to the exchange. Now here the maximum length of the line and the size area of the exchange serves is limited by the maximum permissible line resistance and permissible attenuation at voice frequency. Now this signaling is used for the generation of supervision signals and digits, conversion of received electrical tone and announcement signals into a sound signals, the conversion of electrical ringing signal into a high level acoustic signal. Now, this is the diagram for frequency coding used by the push button or the key phone or the touch tone. When the dial telephones are used, the customers send address information by decadic pulsing. For each digit, the dial makes and breaks the circuit to send a train of up to 10 loop or disconnect pulses at approximately 10 pulses per second. The exchange is able to detect the end of each pulse train because the minimum pause between the digit results in a loop state significantly longer than the max during pulsing. A relay circuit to receive a dial pulse was required in every selector in Schrödinger exchange. However, the introduction of the resistor reduced the number of dial pulse receivers needed, so these could be more complex. This led to the introduction of push button telephone, which send voice frequency pulses and thus provide the faster signaling. Now, this diagram shows the signals transmitted for a local call. So here calling terminal, in between calling terminal and switching system, there are call requests, proceed to send, address, signal status or the call progress, then answer, forward clear and backward clear. These are the signals. And in between switching system and call terminal, there is a alert, answer, forward clear and backward clear. Only these signals. So the call between two customers on the same exchange require a number of actions to be performed in response to a signal as shown. So there are number of actions performed in between the two customers, which is shown in this figure. In addition to the digit 1 to 0, the telephone keypad has the button with the symbols star and hash, and these are used by the SPC exchange for the facilities that are under the control of customer. For example, a customer who wishes incoming call to be diverted to another telephone may use this star key, and it is followed by the appropriate instruction digit before leaving. On returning, an instruction prefixed is key to remove the call diversion. When line serves a pay phone, additional signals must be transmitted for a coin collection and return. For example, the exchange can make a polarity reversal for a coin collection and apply higher voltage for coin return. Some coin boxes require a coin to be inserted before dial tone is sent. These use a ground start signal instead of a loop cease signal. An earth is applied to the negative wire of the line, and the ground start the signal may be also used to call a PBX from the main exchange. Otherwise, the line could be seized by an outgoing call from the PBX before the first burst of ringing current from the main exchange. So in dial telephone, the customers used to send the address information by pulsing. For each dial digit, dial makes and breaks the circuit to send a pulse train. The exchange detects the send of the pulse train by the pause between the digits. So the push button telephone means DTMF. It uses a dual tone multi-frequency signaling, that is DTMF. Each digit is sent by the combination of row and column frequency, and it reduces a signal limitation. In addition to the digits, some symbol button like star or hash etc. are also provided on DTMF dial keypad. These are used by the customer for availing some additional facility provided to him on request, for example call diversion. The transmitter microphone and the receiver convert the sound to electrical signal and vice versa. On hook position means the CS depressed and connected to the ringer, that is PR, to the subscriber line through C. Off hook position means subscriber picks up the handset to cradle, connects to the transmitter and R. When the line serves a pay phone or the coin box telephone set, some additional signals are needed for the coin collection and the return. Next is AF function and trunk circuit. AF means audio frequency function and trunk circuit. So the audio frequency junction and the trunk circuit. For the customer line signaling, the different lines are used for signal sending and receiving between the caller and called subscriber. Now the two-wire junction circuit sends the loop or disconnect signal, and four-wire circuit is used for full duplex communication setup in telephone exchange. When address information is sent between the exchange by the loop or disconnect pulsing over a long line, the distortion of the pulses can cause error in the received information. The capacitance of the line cause a slow decay of the pulse waveform. So, the output break from the receiving relay is shorter than that originally sent. On a multi-link connection, when all the switches are directly controlled by the originating exchange, the distortion is cumulative. The non-symmetrical waveform shown in the figure, the non-symmetrical waveform occurs with loop disconnect pulsing because the sending impedance of the circuit is 0 in the loop state and infinite in the disconnect state. Long distance direct current, that is LDDC signaling system were therefore designed which obtain symmetrical waveform by using a double or current working. So these are the diagrams for the distortion in loop disconnect pulses caused by the distributed capacitance of line in the pulsing by the current reversals. So, working of this audio frequency junction and trunk circuit is the working of the DC signaling over 4-wire audio frequencies. Originating exchange sends a loop or the disconnect signal and dial the pulse using loop connect and disconnect state. Then terminating exchange send back the answer signal by interchanging the battery and ground connection, thereby changing the direction of the line current. Originating exchange gets the knowledge of this interchange by the polarized relay. Terminating exchange also sends a clear signal by again removing polarity interchange. Unless the proceed to send the signal is achieved by the original exchange, it will not send the next digit. This gives rise to delay signal. Multi-level signals are used for the address information interchange between the automatic and manual exchange, as this is a faster compared to a loop or disconnect method. With the loop or disconnect pulsing over a long line, distortion of the pulses occur, causing errors in the received information, and this pulse distortion can be reduced and the signaling range can be increased by using symmetrical waveform. Next is FDM carrier system. In FDM system, the carriers are spaced at the interval of 4 kHz and the baseband is from the 300 Hz to 3.4 kHz. By using a channel filters with a sharp cut off, it is possible to insert a narrow band signaling channel above the speech band. The signal frequencies of 3.7 kHz and 3.85 kHz have been used. This is known as out-band signaling. A DC signal can be output lead M at one terminal causes the signal frequency to be sent over the transmission channel. This is detected at the other terminal to give corresponding DC signal on the output lead E. If the repeater station containing the FDM channeling equipment is adjacent to the switching equipment, then it is simpler for the latter to send and receive signal over a separate A and M wire than to extract them from and reinsert them into a speech circuit. So, there are some drawbacks of the line signaling. These signals are based on the presence and absence of the DC circuit. Such a DC currents are not suitable for FDM equipment. 60 FDM carrier systems have been developed. Analog voice channel occupies a frequency band of 300 Hz and 3400 Hz. So, presence and absence of the DC current was converted to an AC tone for one state and no AC tone for the other state. There are two types, the outband signaling and the in-band signaling or the VF signaling. So this diagram shows the outband signaling system. This diagram shows the outband signaling system. In this, supervisory information is transmitted out of the band that is above the speech, that is above 3400 Hz. Here the signal frequency used are 3.7 kHz and 3.85 kHz. Outband signaling is used in the carriers and not on wire trunks. Inside exchange E and M signaling is used. Working of it is E lead to the carries voice path on two wires. M lead carries the ground signals. The DC signal is carried on the input M level to the transmission channel. Once it is detected at the other terminal, it sends back output on E lead. E lead always carries a signal from signaling equipment to the switching equipment, and M lead carries a signal from switching equipment to the signaling 1. If the repeater is near FDM channel equipment, then sending and receiving signals over a separate E and M wires becomes simpler. Now there are some advantages of this outband signaling. The line splits are not required to avoid the signal limitation. Control signal and speech can be transmitted simultaneously. It is simple and cheap. Here continuous supervision is provided. There are two disadvantages. One is sharp cutoff filters are required to obtain a very narrow bandwidth required for signaling, and second is when the channel patching is required, signaling leads have to be patched. Application is regional signaling system R2 in Europe. Next is in-band signaling or VF signaling. So it uses a VF frequency band for the transmission of the signal, that is 300 Hz and 3400 Hz is VF. The main requirement of in-band signaling is that the equipment used must distinguish the speech and other signal. There are some parameters which are used for the separation of the signal. Selection of frequency for the signal, signal recognition time and voice characteristic. Now selection of frequencies means generally the frequencies between 2280 to 2600 Hz are chosen to avoid the noise. Adjacent frequencies distinguish it from control signal. Signal recognition time is the duration of the control signal are kept longer than the speech. And voice characteristic means there are many different patterns of the voice frequency in amplitude and frequency changes. VF receiver has signal circuit, guard circuit, amplifier and rectifier and comparator. Now what is signal circuit? It consists of bandpass filter that accept the signal frequency, Guard circuit means it consists of BSF to accept all the frequencies other than the signal frequency. Amplifier and rectifier means the output of signal circuit and guard circuit are amplified and rectified, and then it is given to the comparator. And the comparator, if the output of signal circuit is greater, receiver operates, otherwise it gives no output signal. Now VF signaling system means the signal receiver operates the line split RF. The buffer amplifier present on RX prevents the buffer amplifier prevents on RX end prevents and the transmit produced by the electromechanical equipment from reaching to VF receiver. There are some advantages. It is independent on the transmission system or the medium, simple to operate. Also control signal can be sent wherever speed signals are sent, and flexibility in operation. Its application is long distance telephone network. So this is about VF signaling. The disadvantage is speed signal can limit the control signal, hence guard circuits are needed. There is a possibility of signal spill over from one link to another when multiple links are connected end to end. This causes the error, hence the line splits are required. So this is all about the FDM carrier system, customer line signaling, all, and in general what is signaling. So here the second chapter, some part of the second chapter. In the next lecture we will see next part of the chapter, that is PCM signaling and so on. Thank you.